said for a while that I think that Illinois has the highest ceiling of anybody in the Big Ten. And I've kind of been all the way in on the Illini, even if there have been some games where they didn't play well. They lost at home to USC. Well, they didn't have Kasparas Yakashonis. I can write that one off. They let Des Claude get hot. I can write that one off, right?
How many are you going to write off?
Well, hold on. That's my point. So then you go to Michigan State, and Yakashonis gets in foul trouble, and I don't necessarily agree with the fouls. And it's like, okay, well, look, that's this scenario happened. Michigan State's really good. They're playing at home. Okay, I can understand that one. Then you play at home against Maryland, and you have one guy out with strep throat that's so bad that he's apparently able to sit on the bench and yell when his throat is hurting him, which is neither here nor there.
Yeah, why would you have him next to the rest of the team if he's got
like
strep throat?
Yeah, you're trying to get everybody sick. Is that what we're doing now? Sharing water bottles? What are we doing? That's a different conversation.
We could ask Brad Underwood this question.
That doesn't make any sense. But at some point, you have to be able to fight through that adversity, right? Like when you get into the tournament, it's not going to be perfectly set up for you. And I'm kind of at the point where it's like,
don't they have other big men? I don't understand. They don't have backup bigs. They have Kerry Booth sitting there, not even playing that much.
Yeah, I don't. I think that there is a reason why he's not.
Okay, but he's your third big,
and I get it, right?
He can't play 10 or 15 minutes.
I mean, Tomislav he's really good at taking up space, and the fact that he can knock down threes opens up everything on the floor. And but you shouldn't get 20-pieced at home by a Maryland team that can't win on the road.
I know.
Yep. Just because you're missing one guy. Like there should be some fight, and there was no fight there. So that's
and Kevin Willard had the right game plan of this one too. I mean, he basically said, we're not settling for jumpers. We're just going to take it at them. Like I want everybody playing tough, playing physical, setting the tone early, driving it, and it worked. They kind of punked them.
Yes, they did. So am I right to be I'm really worried about Illinois right now.
So funny because a week and a half ago, we were all in. Everybody was in on Illinois.
Their ceiling is still their ceiling.
Sure.
I truly mean this. I think that they are one of the few teams that can be literally like if they beat Duke in Madison Square Garden on February 22nd, I will not be surprised because that's how good they can be when they're good. I just have a very difficult time right now saying I can see them winning even 4 games in a row and getting to the Final Four in March. They can beat anybody.
You know what the problem is?
What's that?
They were much further ahead as scheduled than any of us thought. So our expectations of them went up quicker. We didn't – listen, the bottom line is they're probably not going to hit anything close to their ceiling until mid-February. But, like, they started to hit it in December. So I think we just forgot how new they are. There's only a couple teams with this many new guys that's been this good, right? Kentucky and Illinois and Louisville.
It took Louisville time too.
Yeah, it did. That's all I'm saying is like, I don't know. I think some of these teams, and Illinois is one of them, that if they really start to click and be more consistent, and they have think about it, they got another 10 games to start to figure out that consistency. I don't know. I just think, yes, they're a little bit of a roller coaster now, but that's to be expected with this group.
You're not wrong, but you're 2/3 of the way through the season now. These guys have been together since like June, right? We're talking 7 or 8 months.
I don't think they were all there since June.
Either way, they've been together for long enough that we shouldn't be having questions about like, okay, you got one guy out, now you're going to get embarrassed.
But it's because Kentucky's been so good with all these new guys.
No, it's not.
That we're putting them up against all of them and forgetting that this is a unique situation, Rob, in which all these other teams, a lot of them, have all these veterans back. Look at Purdue. Look at Purdue's a great example tonight. Mm-hmm. I mean, Matt Painter knows roles right away with this group for the most part, right? I mean, knows all his players. Like Brad Underwood doesn't know these guys. He doesn't know until the lights go on what they can do in these situations. So I don't know. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I also feel like you got to give them a little bit more time. That we're still mid-January. There were a bunch of bye games.
January 24th. It's not mid-January.
Late January. It's starting to be late January. I still think, again, you're going to see a lot of improvement because of now you're playing somebody every game. where early on, how many bye games? I mean, out of the first, whatever it is, 11 non-conference games, there are 6 of them that were kind of bye games that didn't really push them. They couldn't figure it out. Like now you're seeing things every game.
Yeah, I get that. But to me, that's an argument for losing at home to USC. To me, that is a justification for KJ's not there or KJ's in foul trouble and you give away a lead at Michigan State.
They don't have another KJ.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
Boswell's pretty good as your backup.
You need Boswell to be your number 2 guy. Like he's not the lead guy. And
but he can be at times.
But his inconsistency.
I'm still okay with it. Like I'm not nearly as worried as you are at this point. I'll be worried in 3 weeks.
I think
give me 3 more weeks.
It's not that I'm
worried.
It's not that I'm worried. It's that I had Illinois like in the upper, not in the top. The top tier to me is Auburn and Duke. And I had Illinois.
A lot of people are thinking about Illinois as a Final Four contender. Sure.
And I had Illinois in that next group among the likes of the Tennessees and the Iowa States and maybe even in Alabama. And I think
how many guys did Iowa State get back from last year?
Everybody, but that's not the point. Like
it is the point. It is the point. It's going to take more time.
You're in late January.
Okay.
How much more time do you want?
You got another
way through the season.
You got another 6 weeks before the tournament starts.
We'll see if that ends up happening. All right, I'm going to circle back.